What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael and welcome to FudgeMuppet. If you've been on the internet at all in the last couple of weeks, then you've probably heard that Cyberpunk 2077's release has been anything but smooth. Some people love the game and think it's the best thing since sliced bread, while others see it as a steaming pile of disappointment. If you've been watching FudgeMuppet recently, then you would have heard about our strong feelings towards the game, both positive and negative. We enjoyed playing through the main story, the side character arcs, and soaking up the beautiful art design while utilizing some powerful and fun builds, like our Neurotoxin Netrunner build, but we also found that certain aspects of the game, primarily choice and consequence and open world features, really let us down. While some of the main flaws are unlikely to be fixed, as it would involve changing too much core content, there's definitely some improvements that could be made which would make the game world feel way more lived in and give it more substance in addition to its already beautiful style. In today's video we're going to be more positive and simply look at 5 features that are within the realms of realism that CDPR could start working on right now to make Cyberpunk a better game. Consider this video a very small taste of what's to come in our Ideal Cyberpunk 2077 video, where we'll be taking you through all of our ideas on how we'd revamp and ideally make Cyberpunk the best game possible. Spoilers warning of course, as to the general premise of the game and the key element of the story that creates urgency. Firstly, let's get some more personal customization going on. It would be really cool to flesh out the game map by adding certain cosmetic vendors you could visit in the world. This would be pretty easy to do and many fans would really appreciate it. What I'm talking about are locations like hairdressers, so you can change your facial and standard hair designs, and even cosmetic surgeons to literally change the rest of your body. Basically, it would be cool to have places you can visit to let you change those features you could only access when you first built your character. Tattoo artists could also be added, and in the same way that some Ripperdocs sell certain cyberware, perhaps only some artists do a specific tattoo, encouraging you to visit different places and interact with different characters. Maybe some small quest could be added to unlock a special tattoo. Speaking of ink, is it just me or do heaps of games give you terrible options like putting a 4-leaf clover on your forehead or something? Games should offer better tattoos, and I'd probably say the same about hair in a lot of games as well, but getting back on track, just adding in some places in the world where your character could actually alter their look, hopefully with even more new options than what we've seen so far in the starting creation menu. You could also have more scenarios like we saw where there's a multi-talented Ripperdoc who can do cyberware as well as tattoos. You could have some Ripperdocs who also offer cosmetic plastic surgery of far better quality than that doc named Fingers. I doubt they'll do what I'm about to suggest, but I'd love to see them add more cosmetic cyberware options, such as the red-plated skin we saw in some of the promotional trailers or just on other characters. In a nutshell, Night City is chock full of cool aesthetic designs, and one of the best things about this game is all the cool styles and designs on display in this society that has run wild with materialism and cosmetics. Let's have our character actually able to take part in that some more. Next up, CDPR could add the ability to have you purchase different apartments. Like you're telling me I can purchase the most elegant and luxurious cars known to humankind, and I can't even buy a better place to live that feels a little more comforting inside and out? Now, I recently opened up my game map after clearing so much off of it, and I noticed that there's these little apartment icons around the place, and I just hadn't seen them before, and quickly got excited like maybe they were added in one of the hotfix updates. Even though the description reads your own personal place in Night City, it's actually just the residences of characters you helped in side missions, so like River's bed, Judy's apartment, a tent in the Aldecado's camp, and so on. It would feel way better if CDPR actually added some awesome apartments to live in. New apartments would really help add more of a rags to riches vibe as you play through the game, do jobs, and earn money. It would also help stagger the progression of the game, as you could move to a slightly better place, then another one, and so on. Although if you're like me, you'd probably just live in the first one and get the best one after you save up enough. Another option is that we could have the ability to customize the apartment we start with and make it more luxurious, although I'd still prefer an entirely different place if I had to pick, as the actual location of the apartment can really add to the feel. If you want to feel like the Wolf of Wall Street in Night City, having a place to live that you actually desire to go back to between missions and spend time in would be sensational. The third thing on this list kind of plays into the first, in the sense that it involves more emphasis on your character's aesthetic. We want CDPR to fix just how reliant you are on equipping the best clothes to have the best stats. There's a lot of different clothing items in the game and some look really cool, but the problem is that you don't actually tend to stick to any given look because your gear is constantly weaker as you level up. Unless you allocate a huge amount of time to getting components, crafting, and investing in the tech stat, which to us is just not worth it. You just wear what's best. You may find a really cool pair of high-tech looking goggles, but end up swapping them out for a fedora because it has 50 more points of armor. We found that we just ended up looking silly in the game for long stretches of time in order to stay powerful, and while we don't often see our character in third person, we all want to look cool in the cyberpunk universe. Here's two ways CDPR could address this. The first and least likely is actually by taking stats away from clothes entirely and overhauling the cyberware system so that buffs are determined almost entirely by a combination of cyberware choices like subdermal armor. This way you could wear whatever you want and feel bulletproof. And before you say it's not realistic, neither is finding a beanie with twice the protection of a motorbike helmet because you got them at different levels. In this system, you could have some armor added on top of clothing to provide additional support, but not in a way that it would feel absolutely necessary and cause you to just never wear stylish clothes. The second method, which we think is more likely, is a kind of transmogrification system. All this basically is letting you alter the appearance of apparel to look like something you've already found. So imagine you find a biker jacket you really love, but then you find an orange suit vest with better stats. You wear the suit vest, but then make it look like the jacket you like instead. The precise way it's pulled off isn't overly important. What matters is just that players have a way to look how they want to, instead of throwing on a green top hat before a final boss battle when they really want to wear some cool corpo armored helmet they got that ended up being weaker. This also helps with role-playing a little bit, as at the very least you can have the kind of vibe you want for most of the game. The fourth thing on this list is a bit scattered, but the idea is to add way more places into the world to go have fun, including adding the animations we only got to experience during cutscenes or specific quests. So in quests you may have the opportunity to dig into some street food or raise a drink with a friend, but when you go to purchase these things for yourself, you just move items from the vendor's inventory to yours, and it just doesn't feel too immersive. We know that animations are there as we've experienced them before, so let's add them into the game. It would hardly be too ambitious. Being able to walk into a cool bar and actually see myself drink, or take my drink to a table and have other places to dance, or just sit down to eat different meals would be really nice. It would be especially cool if you could take some main or side mission characters with you for a night out by calling them up, but I'm not sure CDPR would put in the effort for it to happen. Maybe at least for your romance choice. Also, you know how there's heaps of places that feel like you should be able to go into them but the door is inaccessible? Let's open a bunch of those doors and make them fun places to go, to party or just do other activities. Interactive pool tables, a big multi-story arcade with different games like they have in Japan, or maybe a casino where you can play blackjack like you can in New Vegas. You get the premise here. There's heaps of things they could add to the world that wouldn't be super difficult to do and would be hugely appreciated by those who love the look and feel of Night City but wish there were more things to do there. This is a small thing, but adding a variety of fun VR experiences via the brain dances you can buy would also be great. The final thing on this list, and by no means is this a list of everything we think could be added, is to give players a garage that actually lets you view and customize every vehicle you own. While being bombarded with texts to buy cars can get a bit annoying, there's no doubt that there's some sweet sets of wheels to get your hands on in the game. We actually see vehicles switched through in a garage area in one of the trailers, but surprisingly we don't have any options to do this ourselves. Adding in a garage, particularly for the purpose of customization so you can modify your rides, would be really cool. Obviously, the more customization the better, but it doesn't even have to be performance related, it could be entirely aesthetic. Different types of paint colors, changing whether there's a matte finish or gloss, and choosing from a list of completely unique designs to be painted on the front or across the side. Switching out different wheel designs and colors of them would also be cool, as well as being able to change the interior colors, as we see them quite often in first person view. I'm not even the biggest cars guy, but I still appreciate being able to zoom around in a highly aesthetic vehicle, customized to fit the vibe of my character, and even matching it with what I choose to wear. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up 5 features we think CDPR could implement now or very soon if they wanted to make Cyberpunk 2077 a better game. Sure, the urgency created in the main storyline isn't really built to incentivize having heaps of fun on the side, but I think there's basically no chance they would change the premise of the entire story, so at least let us pretend like we're not dying, or as Johnny says, so live. while we have the opportunity to do so, especially because Night City does look really cool and it's the perfect place to live this kind of life. It goes without saying that the things in this video are not a bulletproof solution to the more significant RPG related flaws we talked about in our Promise Unfulfilled video, but it's a good start to making the game more fun. Social media links are in the description for those who are interested, and if you want to watch our Ideal Cyberpunk 2077, please do consider subscribing as we've already begun to plan it out. My name is Michael, thank you for tuning in to FudgeMuppet, and I look forward to nerding out with you again very soon.